In today's video, we're going to talk about the top 5 things I hate about my AP1 S2000. So let's just get straight to it. Number 5 is going to be how expensive the genuine hardtops are for the S2000. This obviously isn't specific to the AP1s, as you can use the AP1, AP2. They're all the same. The hardtop is the same across the 2 different generations. But these hardtops are very, very expensive. I'm filming this at the beginning of 2021, and they are, I mean, for a good condition or a mint condition one, you're going to pay anywhere from like 5 to 7 grand. And that's a complete kit, including the bottom latches, the top latch, everything. 5 to 7 grand can also buy you a pretty rough S2000. So just kind of putting that together, you're going to get a nice hardtop or a really rough S2000 for that same price. I do love the hardtop, but damn, that was a hard pill to swallow. It was a lot of money. I got a pretty good deal on mine, so there's that. But that's number 5. Going into number 4. Number 4 has to be the factory paint on the Honda S2000s. They've been a lot of people complaining about this paint job, even when it was much newer than today. Now it's 20 plus years old. And you can just see a lot of imperfections in the paint from the factory. And that sucks because, as you guys know, repainting a whole car is, 1, very expensive if done right, and 2, if it's not done right, then it's very disappointing, and you're going to have bigger issues on your hand later on. I'll give you guys an example here. On the top of the car, they actually vinyl wrap this area. And if you take off the vinyl wrap, you will see just how terrible the paint is underneath it. I took it off because my vinyl wrap was really faded. It looked like crap. But I was surprised with a very terrible paint job underneath. So there is that. Now let's go to number 3. Number 3 has to be the lack of torque or power at the lower end. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this because Honda boys and VTEC boys are going to tell me, well, that's not what the car is made for. But, I have a V8 swapped to 240SX. In the past, I've had a Corvette. I had a 335i. And a lot of these cars had a lot of power at the bottom end as well. So coming into the S2000 platform, which I'm not new to, this is my second S2000s that I've owned. I already sold the first one. But coming into this platform, you really got to drive the hell out of these cars to get any kind of power out of them. They're definitely not a straight line car, but they're fun cars. I just wish they had just a little bit more power at the bottom end and a little bit more torque. But obviously, if you throw a supercharger on it, then you're going to be just fine. And that's my plans for this one in 2021. And number 2 kind of falls in line with the reason of number 3. And number 2 is how expensive the F20s are to replace. So unfortunately for me and my strain of bad luck, I actually cracked the piston ring on this one at only 98,000 miles. Yes, I was driving it hard. Yes, I drive my cars hard. Thank you. I don't need a lesson on, I don't need parenting advice from you. But I was driving this car pretty hard, cracked the piston ring, and what kind of pisses me off is even before doing that, I had already done a lot of work on this car to try to make it bulletproof as much as possible. So in number 3, where I said the lack of power at the lower end really forces you to drive this car hard to get the fun out of it, well, when I drove it hard, I cracked the piston ring, which again is a common issue on these cars. So kind of, look into that, do some compression testing. My compression tested all out, just fine right before the cracked piston ring, but it's just kind of the way life is sometimes. So the cost of the new F20 engine, well, not new, but cost of a low mileage F20 engine will run you somewhere around 4, 5, 6 grand. This one now has a 39,000 mile motor in it and transmission, which is nice, but I am still a little worried that I'm going to run into issues down the road. Just because I've already blown one motor doesn't mean they can't happen again. And the number 1 thing I hate about the S2000, and by the way, guys, I love the S2000s, but the number 1 thing I hate about the S2000 is how much research and work you have to do to make the AP1s bulletproof. Before having any issue, you really got to do some research and make sure you bulletproof the engine. And I'm going to list some examples here for you guys just to put down as reference, and for you guys to do to your cars that I have done research on and have shown to be positive for improving the longevity of your S2000. So first thing is obviously going to be the AP2 retainer updates. You can see this all over S2000 forums. It's not new news, it's not new earth-shattering news, but you definitely need to do it. Don't do a valve adjustment on your AP1 retainers, just change the retainers to the AP2 retainers. Number 2 is going to be the oil filter stay mod. And so what that means is essentially there's a bracket and you have a clamp that tightens up or keeps your oil filter from turning at high RPMs and during high vibration. Last thing you want is your oil filter to fall out while you're driving aggressively and leak all your oil out. That's a known issue on the S2000s and a couple of different platforms. But that's the second mod you can do to kind of bulletproof your engine. And number 3 is the rain hater mod. This has been discussed on the S2KI forums quite a bit. I'll actually put a link down below to the forum, and I forgot the original YouTube video where I think his name is Dustin. He talks about this. I'll put a link down to that video as well, so you can kind of get a little bit more information about that mod. But I've also done that to this S2000, and it's a good way to make sure that you keep the engine oil in the engine and you don't run it through the exhaust system and run it out the tailpipes. So there's really 3 things you've got to do to make this engine bulletproof. And I'm sure I'm missing something else, so please comment below what I'm missing so other S2000 and AP1 enthusiasts can be up to speed on how to make their S2000 bulletproof. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. I love my S2000. I'm going to do a video on the 5 things I love about my S2000 and the mods that I've put on. And just thank you guys for following. If you thought this was helpful, hit that like button. If you've got a comment, if you think I missed something, comment below. I really don't pretend to know everything, so I'm super open to feedback. And if you like what you saw, if you want to follow the S2000 build or the S14 Rocket Bunny Boss or the LS2K that I'm building, please let me know. Just subscribe and let's stay in touch. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.